All right, hard yarners.
All right, team.
Today...
It is said and it is done today.
It is said and it is done. It was a good, fun episode before we get through and onto what we talked about.
Actually, we do talk about a mushroom trip in great detail. So that's the hook for new listeners.
Yes.
We're going to shout out our sponsors now.
Yes. So quickly, we're going to talk about alltradescover.com.au. So if you're watching at home, you can see behind Daniel Delby there, our beautiful sponsors.
And if you are on mushrooms and you need insurance for if you don't know where you put your tools, or if you're having a trip and someone steals your tools.
They'll get around you and they'll support you with your indemnity and liability and anything, any sort of damages and stuff.
Yeah, basically looking after the little guy, all the sole traders out there. Mm-hmm. All traders, all one traders.
All one. That's a little reference to soon. Also, this episode is brought to you by Raunchy Brewing Co. They are the beer that's actually good. I wonder if interesting, because now I'm actually on the side of potentially not drinking too much lately. I wonder if they do a zero beer.
Wanker. Probably not.
But we'll have to use them when we go on our run, 52 kilometre pint to pint.
Yep.
Which the details are on our social media about when we're doing it, December 29th, if you'd like to come. And
all are welcome.
We are
want to donate?
Yeah, raising money for Legacy WA. Which
not Kyle Legacy.
Yeah.
Actual Legacy, the charity.
The charity, Kyle Legacy WA. They focus on
veterans families,
specifically orphans and widows. And we really want to get behind them. So let's support them and start raising some money.
Shout out to Mick Gledhill for bringing that up about 150 episodes ago.
Yeah, 100%.
So we're finally following through.
Finally, that's
on a
good.
promise that we made.
100%. This is good. So today we talked through my very first guided journey mushroom trip.
Therapeutic mushroom trip.
I think we've broke it down pretty well.
Yep.
You were good at pressing on things to get me to go down other paths.
Explain stuff.
We went through every part of the experience.
Yeah.
As well as I can remember it.
Yeah. Pretty good.
It was about a 6-hour journey. We've whittled it down to about an hour and 40 minutes. So
hour and 40?
Yeah.
Fuck, we're going fucking ages.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think people are going to like this one as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good one. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of our highest listened to
I think
episodes.
It will be, because I've been getting a lot of messages from people saying they want to hear about my experience, and I really can't stress enough how fucking incredible it was.
Yeah, you're going to want to do shrooms at the end of this episode.
Yeah, 100%. So, but it's been an underlying theme over the last few weeks, and mental health and the traumas that I worked through. So, have a listen, enjoy.
And, Patreons as well, guys. We're going to, after Christmas, we'll start putting up ad-free episodes on Patreon once Branchy fulfills his path and has full time.
I love it.
So, again, shout out to all you guys. But
it is said and it is done.
Let's get dimensional.
Let's get hard.
Welcome to Hard Yarns Podcast.
I am fucking fat.
Anything Chris White says, please disregard it.
5D is actually a state of being. It's a unity consciousness.
That was Hard Yarns with me, Frankie Rose. So I'm going to throw it over to your co-host,
Daniel Delby.
And Cameron Branch.
I would do this and then I'd gong.
Free in attendance for the millions listening at home. Let's get hard.
Let's dive in, shall we, Daniel?
Let's go.
We are... I'm oddly nervous now.
Why?
Anxious, because I'm going to be quite vulnerable and open about what I've seen.
What a fucking fag.
Let me just change the
Do you reckon the word fag is losing its intensity?
Yes, 10,000%.
Yeah.
10,000%. It's
it's lost the malice behind.
Yeah, it's not the gay terminology. It's
like the Louis C.K. bit was probably 10 years ahead of its time. Where he's like, it's not a faggot. He's like, it's not being a faggot.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
But words have meaning.
As two straight white men. We agree.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Do you reckon the N-word is lost? No.
Yeah, fuck it. Say it.
We're all one.
Say it, Delby.
No way. I don't even say it in private, man.
We are
I don't
all-
even say it in the songs. Do you, when you sing along? I never do, bro. I don't understand white girls that do it. Like, it comes on in the song and they're like, ma wigger. And like, they're using the
the
word.
white version.
No.
They'll say it.
I just didn't want to say the words.
Oh.
Like, the songs like that.
Yeah.
Ma wigger. And the girls fully just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, because they're singing. But I guess, isn't... on that, isn't that like you're putting meaning behind the word? So if you're saying it and you're thinking it's a bad thing, that's probably actually intent.
I don't know. It just doesn't. Maybe because they get railed and they want to get, so they feel entitled to it.
I don't know. It's not a word I'm going to ever say.
I never, bro. I even get cringe around when people
seen that
say
Theo-
it like,
Have you seen Theo Von?
Yeah.
When he's
I
like,
say if you say it, yeah. So what do you don't dap him up. He's like, but I do if you do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
he's like, do you say it? Do you say it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
my man.
Come on, man. We had this boy once. We had this boy once who, yeah, man, he would say it, man.
That's a good Theo Von.
Oh, yeah?
That's good, yeah. That was good.
Yeah, boy.
So
Anyway.
for the listeners who are dialing in and listening in, this is going to be a recap of the current
A
theme.
mushroom cap, you could call
Mushroom
it.
cap, yeah. The last week and a half or something, the theme has been very strongly centered around psychedelics and mushrooms. And I had yet to experience mushrooms for healing, for work. I'd had them for fun, but never for healing. You've done them for healing a few times.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times? Can you remember?
Twice.
Just twice? Okay.
Yeah.
And you never do them for fun, so you were
just-
recommending them, but without pushing them on me, which was really that's
Now
a good
you're
way.
a fucking... The people listening, Branchy's become like the Herbalife rep for mushrooms.
Yeah,
He's a self-anointed mushroom Jesus.
No, I'm gonna I'm literally just gonna give my experience,
Yeah.
and that's all I want to do.
I should read out your messages.
Yeah. Oh, don't read out the messages because but there's some stuff for.
It is said and it is done, my peoples.
It is said and it is done is a weird thing that I kept on saying through the whole experience. But
Do you think
we'll
that's
get to
you,
that.
like...
I've
Yeah,
never
okay.
said anything. I've never heard anyone say that
Yeah,
before.
but do you think that you're saying that because you think that when you're enlightened, that's what you should be saying, and your ego's going...
No, we'll go through the whole thing because this is not like when you've told me about yours when you're just going through things. This was a full process.
Yeah.
A full process. Like I couldn't drink the whole week. No coffee. Like
Yeah.
there was a lot. I had to journal. I had to do a lot of.
Now, this is where I always get interested because they say the same thing for ayahuasca and that.
Yeah.
Do you think that people have just gone, let's
top-
not do it because I've heard that's what you do? Like, where does this mushroom...
Because it's a toxin. It's a toxin and
Correct.
it fucks with your high. So that's basically without asking too much about it. It's a toxin. It's a poison, and it's not going to.
You're talking about caffeine?
Caffeine and
Because the mushroom is a toxin.
yes, caffeine.
Psilocybin.
So caffeine and alcohol are other toxins, other drugs. So they're going to fuck with the other drug that's coming into your
I
system.
mean, it does make sense. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, of course.
It
Yeah,
does
yeah,
make
yeah.
sense that you want your body functioning at its optimal level. So if you're having a natural product, it's going to absorb to its full capacity.
Yeah, I guess the overruling sense that I have now, and you're going to smirk when I say this, is that I am God,
Yeah, righto, cunt.
and that you're God,
Yeah.
and that we're all God,
Well,
and this
You're better than me.
overwhelming.
You do one mushroom trip, you're better than me,
No,
hey?
you're God as well.
getting triggered.
So and your triggers are. We won't talk about your stuff.
that's fine.
But your triggers are.
I'm happy to talk about my triggers because it's important. Otherwise, I wouldn't be being vulnerable.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's probably something that's wrong with me or something that's an issue with me.
And those messages came through to me pretty heavily.
Why, man? I should be working on you. Tell them to
They
fuck
were-
off.
That's what the.
Tell them to fuck off, cunts.
But everyone came in to me because like.
What? Everyone
Okay,
came into you.
yeah,
What are you doing?
yeah,
What are
yeah.
you filming?
Okay, let's start from
How
the
many
beginning.
guys was there?
Let's start from the beginning because
let's go.
it was very interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try myself as well. I'm going to do this experience myself
To see if
maybe
you
in
reckon.
3 or 6 months to see but fuck, some of the shit I was dealing with, I'm not sure I could have got through without some help. And fuck, some scary moments. But anyway, we'll start from the beginning. So I had for those listening at home, I had my first mushroom journey experience where I had 3.3 grams pretty heavy dose, and I was.
That is a fair crack.
Yeah, I was facilitated as well, so I had someone with me. Maybe some people putting two and two together at home might know who, but for legal purposes, I did it with some person in Bali or something like that. Yeah, quickly flew out there. And I was given a few things to do. So what intentions I wanted to get out of it, why I was doing it. I was asked a few questions all week, actually.
How much are you going to share?
Of my intentions? I'll share it all. There's just a few names I'll leave out of some of the visions and stuff that I've came across, but everything I'll be as open and vulnerable as possible.
I'll leave names out of visions I've come across as well.
This is good but one of the messages of the whole thing was to lighten up and have fun with everything. But even though this is a serious sort of topic that they want me to get across,
that's my message I want to send to you as well.
Yeah, they want it to be. They still want me to get. There's a message and a thing that I have to get across. But
lighten up.
Lighten up.
And lighten up.
And lighten up, exactly.
No, I've been wanting to say that to you as well, though, because I feel like some of the stuff we're trying to take yourself too seriously.
Everything's
push
so
across this serious message. Like, fuck, man. We're not that important. Who gives a fuck?
Well, it's not. It's not the not important side, because it is important what we're saying.
I don't like the arrogance or pompousness or when you feel like you're...
Yeah, but that's your ego.
Yeah.
That's you not wanting to... So remember when Boris said, you can't... Just because you're not... to say something good about yourself is not an egoic thing. That's an old juvenile way of thinking. That's the new way of thinking is being... what's the word? Being open, being proud of it, and being open and vulnerable about your things that you're good at. So, you're.
I just don't want us to get to become like this fucking top-notch podcast.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
We're not that, man. We're all about being vulnerable, sharing, but have a laugh and don't take ourselves too seriously.
Exactly.
But also, there is an underlying serious message.
Correct.
But I don't want us to be this fucking new age. I fucking detest that shit.
And there's something that came to me about that for you.
Yeah.
But that's something I'm not allowed to talk to you about. You have to you have to do that. You have to go do that.
Yeah. But I still
There's a reason you feel like that, is what they were telling me.
Has that got something to do with the finger that got put in my bum in a men's group?
Potentially. But there's stuff, so it's, but anyway, we'll go through the whole experience and then we can just talk about what happened. So we did the journaling. So they asked me to write like some visions and intents.
Mm-hmm.
What
was your intent?
My full vision, and it was like down to the perfect life, what I could envision, and it was to have, it was the perfect life that most people and would picture. You know, that sort of balance of having the incredible partner that's supportive, motivated, driven themselves.
Sexy a bit?
Sexy, yeah. Athletic.
BJ's?
I said athletic, and not in the looks sense. I meant athletic as in ability and wanting to drive themselves.
But they're a woman. They can't play sport.
The partner was supportive, had their own ambitions.
You visualize your perfect partner.
The perfect partner. The
lifestyle.
Yep. The life balance. The lifestyle was doing the podcast full time.
And for ladies listening, describe the perfect partner. We know she's got great hamstrings. She's supportive. She can play sport with you.
She's driven. It's all right. I already. We'll get to all this.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So this is all part of it.
Nice.
I said that. So the lifestyle would be doing this full time, having fun with you, being creative. Instead of having to worry about other stuff, we could just film shit. Basically, I've said that to you before anyway. Like film stuff, and just if we didn't like it, well, fuck it. It's just something we filmed and have fun with.
Yeah.
Do a bit more comedy, travel, have the flexibility to be able to do what I need to do with my daughter, because my daughter's stuff is starting to ramp up a little bit in regards to the NDIS stuff.
Which you'll hear on the next episode probably.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we'll talk about that. And so that was the sort of vision that I had placed on the lifestyle. Then the question was asked, what do I want to do next? If I got to that, what would I do next? The next one was work with charities, mental health charities, be more creative and make bigger budget films and fun stuff like that.
We're going to work on that first film, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And then the question was asked, why aren't you doing it now?
Yeah.
Which is a very obvious sort of psychological question to ask. And I said, I can be. Like, I am doing charity work.
Yeah.
And a few of those sorts of things. So that just started prodding some questions in my head and started gave me something to work towards. Arrived early on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Obviously I couldn't drink through the week.
Yeah.
No coffee. Had to read a book.
I must have mirrored you. I didn't drink on the weekend either.
Yeah. I know.
I had to read a book.
I had to read a book.
Fuck.
The Way of the Superior Man.
Oh, that title triggers me, bro.
Yeah, I know.
The Way of the Superior Man.
I had to move past my
What was it about?
relationships and the divine feminine and masculine coming together as one and understanding the traits that there was quite a few underlying messages. The only thing
In
that actually
the book?
in the book,
But
yeah.
you won't share it because people need to read it?
I think people should I think
Actually, Superior Man doesn't trigger me. It's true. We are superior to women.
it's very interesting.
Is it Superior Man as in somebody has an idea of what a man should be, or is it talking about being a better version of what you can be? Because that title in itself is like, fuck, man, that's...
Yeah.
I get triggered by people that use spirituality to almost give themselves a sense of belonging and be better than other people.
It's interesting now me looking at your triggers from my point of view.
You're better than me, are you?
Not better than you.
You've reached enlightenment.
No,
I'm not there yet.
I can just see what's triggering them now.
Yeah. Ego
But
and people thinking they're better than you because that's not what spirituality is about, man.
Yeah, I know, but what does it mean? Like, why do you think they think they're better than you? That's something.
I don't think that they're better than me.
No, why do you think they think?
Because they act like that.
Why do you? Anyway, we won't go down because that's something that you need to. We'll talk about that. Actually, no, I won't talk.
Because I'm better than them, cunt.
There's yeah.
But yeah, Superior Man.
So the Superior Man was there was a few underlying messages, but basically it was about the understanding of the different aspects of feminine and masculine and how they work together.
Right. So it should just, beautiful. The left could read it.
Both, but this is good. This is not for, so this is written by a man for men specifically because men potentially, I guess, don't get that. They're less in touch with those sorts of things.
Right.
But he does make reference to feminine qualities as well and how they work together and how we. Yeah. But anyway, it's
funny that we.
It was interesting because it was more. That was the book that I had to read because of my intent on relationships and what I wanted to see.
Was it like, how long was it?
It was. I did the audio book version, 4.5 hours.
Wow.
So I did it on 1.75 or something like that. Got down to 2.5 or 3 hours or something like that. But so I got through that, and as we arrived, we had a bit of a chat for a while just to get comfortable. Mm-hmm. Very important that you're very comfortable. Trust the person that you're with. Mm-hmm. That was something that was heavily stressed to me, and I felt very comfortable. I felt very safe. I felt very I just felt
at ease.
I felt at ease. I felt like I trusted. I felt like it was aligned. I felt like it all worked.
Yeah.
It was meant to happen. So it felt very easy. I was excited. And then I remember we did a bit of a cleansing, standard sort of cleansing stuff with some sage. Set some intentions verbally. Drew some tarot cards, but she said they weren't tarot cards. I can't remember what sort of cards were that, but we drew some cards that had messages. And
what's your theory on those? I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's charlatan stuff. Hey.
Yeah. Well, so this wasn't tarot.
Yeah.
These were cards that I was drawn to pick, and the messages.
Are they like the spiritual cards?
Yes.
I think and you just pick them at random, and it's got a
message in the book. Yeah. So I read that, and it was.
Can't remember what the name.
It's surprisingly accurate as to what I was trying to get out of it and what I was trying to deal with. So many things I didn't realize I had to deal with. So many things. I was like, fuck. At the end of it, I didn't realize, holy shit, that was a trauma. But anyway, so I've had we've had set our intentions. I've drunk the drink. And like I said, hero dose, 3.3 grams. Within about 10 minutes, we were talking and I had to say, I'm listening to what you're saying, but I'm not taking
So
anything
you drank
out.
it as a drink and it kicked in within 10 minutes?
About 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucking so quick.
She said I must have quite a fast metabolism. She said normally takes a bit longer, but
Yeah,
10 minutes
half
is
an hour,
pretty
45
quick.
minutes.
So within about 10 minutes, I was fucking heavy, like big. And I said, I can't take in what you're saying. They are kicking in. I was like, we need to like.
There's so many chairs in this room.
Well, no, that wasn't happening. But I like couldn't concentrate, and it was starting to get a little bit movie. And anyway, so she's like, right, now we lay down. Took me to a bed. Yeah, laid me down. Said I can get under the covers if I want. She said I'll get cold potentially, might get shivers, and I was like, it's quite nice in here. I don't think I will, but I got under the covers and
Is this to like go back to inner child or just to make you comfortable?
comfortable.
Yeah.
So laid down, blindfolded me.
Fuck, this sounds sexy. Yeah,
Yeah, I know, but it was the blindfold was everything.
yeah.
The blindfold was ridiculous. It just made everything so. Everything was my mind.
Yeah.
And instead of we did do outdoor stuff, but like 80% of it was blindfolded.
Yeah. That's exactly the same experience for me. I just shut my eyes for 80% of it.
Yeah, and
And it's weird when you opened it, you'd snap back into wherever you are. And then
yes. So now she warned me. She warned me. She said there will be a takeoff stage where you will be in just all sorts. It'll be breaking you down. So just sort of be prepared. So it kicked in, and I'm lying down, and things are shapes, geometric
barbecue,
patterns,
chicken,
fucking
all
these sort of
what kind of colours?
every color,
everything,
every color. It's like it's inexplainable. You've experienced it, I'm assuming, but it's inexplainable what I was experiencing because she had music playing, which was very good, and then little things
Or
like
she or he, we don't know who it was.
the facilitator had maracas over the top, and when they shake the maracas over it, I could see the sounds expanding and just turning into these own geometric shapes and patterns, and I was like the smile. I was trying to hold back this smile. I was like, this is embarrassing. Like this is something I need to be.
No, because they make you laugh heaps, bro.
So it was incredible, and I just
Did
let
you get
go
the giggles?
Not. I'll talk about that because we did laugh quite a lot. They're quite funny. The guides, the spirits that came through were hilarious.
Right.
So they were quite funny.
Hello, sir.
And so it was going through this point where everything was breaking down into a million pieces, and just all these geometric shapes and patterns were forming. And then as I started to sort of settle, I started to relax. I remember letting go of the holding back the smile and just smiling and letting that euphoric.
It's interesting. Why did you want to hold it back?
I think that was potentially my ego holding on to embarrassment. I didn't want to feel like I was
like a loser.
Yeah. And so I just let go. I was like, this is the feeling I'm feeling right now. And I just felt this overwhelming feeling of being at home or like just, ease and peace. I just felt like this is incredible. And I never had, and I'm getting like butterflies and shivers thinking about the feeling now, but it was such a good place.
Yeah.
It was so good. And just watching it and so enthralled by what was going on.
What if we're at Peppermint Grove or something?
Yeah. So as it started to die down, that initial takeoff, and I don't know how long that went for.
That would have been an hour and a half.
Could have been.
Man.
Could have been.
Would have been ages.
It could have been. I'm not 100% certain, but I feel like the initial takeoff, just from what I was feeling, it was about half an hour.
And time has slowed down. I think I'm dead.
Yes. Well, we'll talk about me dying in a minute, but I reached a point at which everything had calmed, and it went to like a black, like cloudy, purpley, like
Studio.
it's similar. Like it was like cosmic sort of look, but very close to black, and my mood changed quite abruptly. And so this was interesting to have the facilitator there. So I was able to communicate to the facilitator on what I was seeing.
Because were they, when you were taken off, did they just shut up and play music? And
if I needed help, I would tell. and sometimes at points they would hold my heart and ground my heart. They gave me some sound. There was a resonating thing that they would put near and I could feel the vibration through my whole existence. It was
Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
It was
Good about
yeah,
Branchy.
it was incredible. But
So,
so that grounded
but when
me.
you're taking off, is she asking you questions, or are you
Not-
just exploring and then?
She is. She's asking, what can you see? Just making
Was
sure
that
I'm
frustrating?
okay.
Was that annoying?
No, there were points where it was annoying, and she did say, if there are any points where what I'm saying is annoying, you tell me to stop.
Yeah.
And she was like, this is your experience.
Yeah.
You need to tell me exactly how you're feeling at what point. If something that I'm doing at the moment or
Yep.
something around me is upsetting you, tell me and
Yeah.
I'll stop. So everything I did, I was in constant communication with her.
Yeah. With them.
With them. From that point, I started referring to myself in third person. For the duration, for the rest.
Like The Rock?
Yeah. This,
The Rock
this
doesn't
guy,
matter.
this guy,
Yeah.
he, this guy and he.
Was the choice of this guy, you think, was to make you feel like get rid of your ego? You know, people are like, this guy, this fucking guy.
Well, that
Is
was-
that your the shroom guides?
This was,
like-
I felt, a way to communicate to the facilitator, because initially she got confused when I said there was a conversation that I was having with the facilitator about what I was seeing, and I said, you're the one who's an issue, or something along those lines. But I was talking about myself, and she said, "Are you talking to me, or are you talking about you?" And I said, "This guy." So for the rest of the, I guess that was my thing where I called it this guy.
Yeah.
This guy became my.
Could have been a mafia. This fucking guy.
This fucking
guy.
Well, it's funny because I did say that quite a lot.
Yeah?
This fucking guy, man. This fucking guy. But so where was I in that journey? We just started to settle down.
Yeah.
Okay, so we just started to settle down, and I started to see
The
black
and purple.
And then my mood abruptly changed, and I could feel it in my face, and I started shaking and jolting and feeling like I was getting, like, she said it was like, I asked what was happening because I couldn't like control my shaking and what was going on, and she said, ask me how I'm feeling. And this was the way I sort of almost communicated to myself. So by her asking these questions to me, I was able to answer through them. And I said, I'm defragging my body. So I was just like I was like breaking my body into bits and just like setting it up and preparing it for what was about to happen. And after a bit, that sort of stopped, and I became quite still and then visibly scared.
What do you mean?
So she said, "What's wrong?" Because she could see it on my face. I said, "I see a devil," and this devil appeared in front of my face, and it was like peering at me, and it was like right in front of my face, and it was
What did it look like?
it's like bluey and blackish, really ghoulish, like really.
Almost like a ghoul from like Super Mario
Almost like
World, where it's like the floating black things,
No, it was.
or like
It was almost like it was like a skeleton with flesh, but like not. It's very hard to explain, and it came in like very, like it was peering at me, like it was just checking me out. And it was like floating towards me and floating away and floating. And I said, "I see
funny
it."
if it's just like a health friendly being in that dimension, but
Well,
we're like,
we-
oh, that's a devil.
We should get to this.
Yeah.
So I said, it's a devil. And I was visibly scared. Now, after about, I feel 5-10 minutes of working with this devil, just like wanting it to go. I'm like, I want it gone. And she said, she's trying to let me work it out myself, how to get rid of this devil. And I'm trying to work through it. I'm having conversations. I'm trying to get rid of this devil.
With her or with the devil?
With the devil, with her.
What were you saying to the devil? Like, what's going on, bro?
No,
Like,
no, I was.
What do you want from me?
Who are you? Like, what's your?
Is this mentally in your head you're asking?
Some of it's mental. Some of it, like, I would not say, and I kept all internal. And some of it I communicated through the facilitator. This devil wasn't really communicating. It was just not letting me go.
Just giving you
It
the
said
stare down.
It said it held me. It said it was holding me. And it
Like
was
a loving hold, or
no,
just like holding
it
you
had
in
me.
place?
It had me.
I've
I've been with you for a long time.
Oh.
I'm your devil. And
Is it the one that you woke up to the sleep paralysis?
it did look similar. Yeah.
Right. So
There
people,
was-
if you go listen back to about episode 50,
It looked similar. It was like over me. And this floating, peering, looking at me was very creepy. But
did it have eyes, or did you just feel it like you're
Yeah.
telekinetically?
eyes, but potentially that's just my visualizing what I thought was
Yeah.
a demon or a devil.
Because all of this stuff that's happening, this is like almost telekinetic communication with you and this
Correct.
other thing.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
So-
and whatever you're saying, you're actually not saying out of your mouth. You're saying
Some
it.
I am,
Right.
some I'm not.
And the person facilitator could hear you saying these things to the.
Yes. So some of
Are
it.
you-
so if
you-
I'm communicating with them, no, I'm
Yeah.
communicating with the spirit or the devil or whatever. That was all thing, and then I'd communicate. They said this, and I'd say that to her. And it got to a point where I could not defeat this devil, and she said,
Do you think that?
"Do you want this devil gone? Because I'm here to protect you and here to guide you through this journey in a safe space. So, do you want to know how to defeat this devil?" And I said, "Hold on." Well, I just said, "Hold on. Let me."
She goes up, down, left, right, select, start.
Yeah.
R1 trigger.
Well, it's funny that you referred to life as a game because
Yeah.
that's interesting. But I eventually couldn't get rid of it. I said, "I want this devil gone. Help me." And she said, "Do you give me permission to help you?" And I said, "Yes, I give you permission." And she
Even
said, "Show up."
consent in the next dimension's important.
100%. Consent's everything. She said, "Show it love."
Yeah.
And I hugged, like within my mind, I hugged this devil. I reached out to it and hugged this devil. And it just dissolved into...
It's interesting that you couldn't figure that out on
I
your
know.
own after all the conversations we've had.
I know.
It's always like,
And it's...
when you
but
see
this
something,
doesn't
you
end.
need to...
This doesn't end there. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. This was something...
Because it's probably served your purpose and it's been there to protect you, and then you don't need it. This is my guess.
Yeah, no, it was a trauma. It was an old trauma. And these were all these... this was one devil. There was fucking...
And the trauma, yeah.
So we started, this section, because I had sections. So this section of the whole, it was like there was 3 sections within this whole journey. So this section was just defeating the devils.
C-section.
So I went through each devil and defeated them. And I just went, every devil came through and I showed them love. And I didn't know what they were representing. had no idea.
And
this
so
is
level
what-
1, you've got the blue devil,
And
then you've hugged it,
and they kept on
and
coming.
it goes away. And that same image of the same colour.
Different devils.
Different
all different
colours?
shapes and sizes.
Well, let's tell me about them.
I can't remember them all. But
Right.
that's the one because that was the first one. That's the one I've specifically remember.
What did you feel when did the devil communicate when you gave it a hug? Was it like, you can't, you got
No,
me?
it
Or
said
was it
you
like,
are
thanks?
No, it sort of dissolved like a cloud and said you're free. And I felt free of
Did
it.
it go like, you're free? Or was
No,
it like
no.
a happy,
No, there was nothing. It was just
you're free?
no. It was like this.
Or you felt I'm free?
I felt I'm free.
Yeah.
It felt it's free. We were like
Ah.
karmically tied.
Ah, that makes sense, because maybe he doesn't want to be fucking with you and you're holding on to him because of all your baggage.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Or
but
it could be a
no,
she.
It was
Could be a she devil.
So it was the physical not physical. It was the representation of my trauma.
Okay.
Was a devil.
Right.
The devil isn't a thing. The devil was something I was holding internally.
Yeah.
And so once I'd let that go, and I went through and I was working on all of these devils, and it was like a lesson, and it became fun. It became this sort of class, and I met this goddess. So I met this goddess.
What does she
named-
look like?
This was
Good hamstrings or what?
no. This is okay. So the best way I can describe this one is like an octopus cuttlefish, but on a far more epic scale
Right.
with one eye.
Ooh.
But no, it wasn't even an eye. I don't know. I can't explain.
Chakra.
It was something. It was like
soul.
and they called themselves Awan.
How do you spell that?
I don't know, but
Like Aaron with that.
AWON is how I
Awan.
was feeling.
Cure one.
She asked, "What's its name?" Because she was like, I want to know who you're communicating with. It was Awan.
Has she heard about this goddess before?
Not not that one. The other ones that I communicated with, she knew
Wow.
before. She's like, "Is that what it looks like?" And I was like, "Yes."
Wow.
Anyway, we'll go back to
That's
that in a
crazy.
second. Yeah. But
I wonder if this is the conspiracy got like QAnon. You got QA1.
yeah. So Awan was
What colour was
saying,
she?
"I'm your teacher for this lesson."
My octopus teacher.
My octopus teacher. I'm your teacher. I'm taking you on this lesson.
What colour was
Those
she?
devils, purpley blue.
Right.
Purpley
So you had
bluey.
a blue devil and purpley blue goddess.
So the purpley bluish goddess was teaching me and kept on showing me devils. So kept on bringing me these devils and saying, your one and only goal in life is to show everything and everyone love, including the devils.
When did A1 show up?
Probably
was it after the first few devils?
after the
and then
first
she's
devil.
like, but wait,
Yeah, no.
there's more.
After the first devil.
Oh, really?
And then continued to bring on the other devils.
Right.
And so it became fun and it
Mm.
became this like class. And then it was very interesting because they started communicating to my facilitator, which after we've done reflection on the actual journey, she said that's only ever happened once before. It's very rare that they would want to communicate with me as well. But they were communicating with her like it was like, we'll take this guy and do this with him for a second, okay? Is that all right? And sort of asking her permission and sort of things. So they asked permission to take me from her.
You got cosmically kidnapped.
No, they asked for permission. So they asked her for permission. She said, as long as you keep him safe. And this Arwen took me to this place in, I don't know what it was, in time, space, the universe. And
Describe it.
and stuff. It's like everything. It was like, I don't know how to explain it. It's very hard to explain the visualization, but it was like infinite space.
Right.
It'd be like looking at space from a grander point of view. And I was just saying, kept on bringing devils to me. And every time I'd sort of half forget, oh no, remember, you're supposed to show them love. So I'd get scared and then go, oh, show them love. And then to a point of which I defeated all these devils. And then once I defeated them all, I started saying, I've learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson. And they said, from me, I was communicating to her. They said, this fucking guy, he thinks his fucking lesson's over. What a fucking idiot, basically.
Nice. Yeah.
And then the facilitator started laughing. She's like, yeah, you got a long way to go.
It's that ego.
Yeah, the ego. And they kept on saying he's being impatient. He wants to tick some boxes. He wants to get through this. He wants to work through. He needs to recognize his patience. And patience was part of one of my lessons. And it got to the point where we reached a point where I did feel like I understood, be patient, understand love and gratitude. And we were we got close to the end of the lesson. And they said, okay, he's ready. I was saying this out loud to the facilitator, which is so odd. He's ready to move on to the next session. It's time for his recess. He needs to go to the toilet. And then we can move on to the next one. And then she said, okay, do you want me to take off the blindfold? And I said, one moment, they're just showing me one more thing. And then a devil came out.
Oh.
And I showed it love. And then it turned into A1. And they said, that was your final lesson. Just double checking you knew what you were doing. And they said, now you can go. And I was like, and they smiled. This A1 like smiled, just like,
How does an
cool.
octopus smile?
I don't know.
just
Like
felt that
it
it
was
was
felt
smiling.
this smile of like, it was like, I got this sort of like smirk, not a smile, like a smirk. Like it's like they would like just
Like almost tricksters.
yeah, that's
yeah.
exactly what it was like.
Yeah. It's weird how the tricksters come through
Yeah.
a little bit from that dimension.
So we went to the toilet. So she took me to the toilet, and then I had a conversation.
you let out a devil?
Yeah, no, I had a conversation in my head because they're still with me.
Yeah.
And they said, we like to have fun too. We like fucking around with you sometimes. Just go with it. And then I told the facilitator, and they're like, yeah, of course. We have to have fun. They have to have fun.
Yeah.
They're trying to have fun. They're an entity trying to have an experience. And I was like, fuck, this is okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we go outside. Before we go into our next lesson, she said, do you want to go outside? I said, yeah, I do, actually. I really want to go outside. So we went outside. It's beautiful sun, sitting on the grass.
Did you look at trees? Were they glowing?
No.
No.
I was looking at grass. and the grass was moving. I was looking at everything, and we're just having a conversation. We're trying to digest what I've just been through. But I'm tripping hard, so it's very hard. But I'm working through these things and what I've learned. And I may have missed some things that I've learned in that one, but that's what I can remember at the moment. And I remember her housemate came home and walked past us. She said, "It's okay. He knows exactly what's going on. You feel safe. It's fine." And I felt safe. And I said, "He needs work." And she said, "I know." And I said, No. They're saying to me right now, he needs work. You need to make sure he does the work. And I was like, she was like, I know, but this is your time. They can work on him some other time, but yes, he knows he needs work. It's interesting. They kept on communicating to me about people around me. Then a guy walked past.
Do you think that's them, or do you think that's something inside you that's like a God complex? Where you're like, I'm going to help people.
No, they were specifically telling me him.
And you're very certain it has nothing of your Branchy. It's something else.
It was the third person saying that guy, tell her that guy needs work. It was like a message for her. It wasn't for me. That was, but yeah, I understand what you're getting at. And then I was worried about, there was a guy walking past in the street and he was looking at us. There was a guy next door that could probably hear the conversations we're having. I started feeling self-conscious. And I told her, I said, I feel self-conscious. I feel weird. I feel odd. And she said, why? And I said, because what would they think? And she said, what does it matter that they think? And I just went, I had this like inner like, and I felt like I could let go a bit again. And I felt fine. I was like, yeah, it doesn't matter. What does it matter do they think? And then I said, I'm just downloading some stuff from the sun. I said, just give me a second. And I was like lying in the sun. And it was like I was downloading information from the sun. And the sun gave me this like information. And it was like
the Herald Sun?
No.
The actual sun.
No, the actual sun gave me information. And I felt.
Do you think it was the sun, or do you think it was just like?
No, it was. I could see the data. I could see it coming.
Explain that to me, because when I looked up in the sky on my first self journey, it was almost a karmic grid, and I could see it was very, very clear. And I thought I was tripping, but when I'd look away, I'd look back and it'd be the same spot.
So in the sun, the rays that were pointed at me, it was like information. It was like data was how I described it to her. It's like I'm downloading data.
It's pretty cool.
It felt like it was pointed at me. It felt like I was taking it in. And as soon as I had received that data and that download was finished, I just had this readiness. I looked at her and I said, he's ready. And she went, okay, look at me in the eye. And so
look at my eyes.
Yeah.
With my tongue in between.
Yeah. She said, look at my eye. Yeah. And I said, but you have two eyes. I need to look at both the eyes.
Who said this?
The facilitator.
Okay, yeah.
Look at my eye.
Well, maybe she was A1 with one eye.
So she said, look at my eye. And I was battling with this thing. It's like, you have two eyes. I need to look at two. And then for whatever reason, this epiphany happened that I only need to look at one eye because it's all one. And then I said,
it's all R1.
R1.
All one. Maybe that's where the name comes from.
All one. Because it ended up being, I came to this conclusion. I went, all that's within is without, and all that's without is within. And she went, you're ready. And we went back inside and started the next part.
Well, did she want you to look at one of her eyes or her actual third eye?
No, one of her eyes. And her eye just turned into colours, and but it became this like point of focus in which everything was in one point. And then that epiphany of like all is within is without.
What does that mean? Because I get that everything that you need is here, and everything that
everything you want to experience is already there.
Yeah,
and it's already within you. It's
when the word without, does that mean like externally?
Externally, not without, like within lack, without. All that's without is also within. So it's all there within you to experience.
What is the opposite of within? It's not without, is it?
No. But
So
that's
all
how
that's
that's
out
how
is
I
in and all
verbalized.
that is in. Is
That's
out.
how I
Yeah, yeah.
verbalized it. So whatever, it's hard. All that's external is within potentially.
Everything you need is here, and everything that you can give out. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
I got you.
So I was ready to go to the next stage, and we went inside, and this was the dealing with traumas, and this is where it really.
How it reminds me of Super Mario. Like we've gone in the pipes, did it. Now we're on that do down into the devil, like the fire stage.
Now I was ready. We went back into the room, laid down on the bed,
This
blindfolded.
is what, about 2 hours in, hour and a half.
I feel like yeah, and the traumas started to appear, and they were scary. First one that came up was my mum. And it's like this,
As in the trauma of what happened with your mum, or just like your relationship with your mum.
my mum came up. Yeah,
Yeah,
bit of both.
yeah.
My mum came up, and she was like a devil.
Oh,
She was a
what
devil,
colour?
like grey.
Oh,
It was my mum, but she was in a hospital bed, and that was part of the trauma. And I worked through this thing of my mum. I wanted to help her, but I couldn't help her. And all
kind
I
of like
could
when
do,
you were here.
and the resentment that I was holding towards her for being my devil. And then I remembered my first lesson was to show love to the devils and compassion. And so I showed her love and compassion, and I defeated that trauma. And the lesson that I learned with that one was that I held a lot of trauma about my parents being alcoholics when I was younger, just drinking constantly, and to the point of which they couldn't function as I was a young child. And they still do it now. And not to that point, but they still do it now. And I had addressed in my head that there were two different pains that they were dealing with. The pain of life was just too much for them, their own traumas. That was what they were drinking for when I was younger. They were trying to escape that. And I should show compassion and not be angry that they did that. And I did. And the reason they drink now is because they feel guilty of the fact that they drank when I was young.
That's interesting.
And I had to show them compassion for that. And all I could do was show them compassion. And this morning I dropped them off to the airport. And
Are they gone today? Yeah.
and the symbolism for that was that is the physical manifestation of your two karmic cycles parting ways now. They're flying off to Thailand, and you're now on your new path. This is your reset.
How's the timing as well? Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like you're still going to communicate. You're still part of each other's lives. You're still going to love each other and support each other, but you're no longer karmically tied together. And
this is
you've
sober you.
released them. This is, sorry?
This is sober you this morning.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was, and it was actually quite a beautiful feeling to actually let them go. And I had to put that into practice when I got home. They were drinking, and I had to go home and show them compassion and just be fine with it. And it was okay for me to remove myself from the situation if I didn't feel comfortable in it. And to not be a self-sacrificing person anymore, and don't burden yourself with other people's burdens. Be compassionate, show them love, and move forward.
That's the hard part, right?
Yes. But that was a really good one to break through.
Interesting. That
I
started
should say that the lesson. So I was asked by the guides to ask my facilitator what lesson I want to learn at the start of that next session. Sorry, I forgot to say that.
So
The lesson that I wanted to learn, they said the facilitator said to me, "What lesson do you want to learn then?" And I said, "Hold on one second." And every time I didn't, I would
just speaking to the sun.
Basically, I would consult the guides. I would
Yeah,
consult
yeah.
the entities, and they would come back to me and they'd say, he wants to learn about love.
Right.
So we went down love. So that was part of the block for love.
Okay.
So love was everything. This was a big entanglement.
It's interesting that that's always any sort of psychedelic. It always comes back to that.
To love.
It's weird, eh?
So love is a very broad term. Love isn't necessarily just the love you feel for another woman, or it's love as a feeling.
I may not be the smartest man, but I know what love is.
Yeah. So we then moved on. Once I broke through my mum's trauma, we moved through this path, and I could see this pathway in front of me, and this is like a cosmic pathway.
Like Super Mario, the Rainbow Road?
And they said, No.
No?
Well, it was blocked by like a rose bush, like thorns, like intertwined, like really thick, and I could not get through. And this was a representation of all the different blocks that were amalgamating together for me, stopping me going down that pathway that I want to go down. And they were blocks that I'd created myself, and I was not getting out of my own way.
Before we go down that path, so with the mum block, did you hug the grey devil and it went?
I showed it love. But at that point, I'd turned my mental ability to show love was not physically giving it a hug. It became this, and I described this to my facilitator, that it's like I was showing love from my heart space, like I was radiating out this sort of beam of light to whatever. It was like a superpower, like I was
a
going,
Care Bear.
yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And that's how I described it. I said it's like this radiating beam of light that I'm pointing at whatever I feel.
Like Homelander, but instead of the eyes, you got the love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And then you get to the bush.
So
hang on. So you like went, poosh, and it got bang, devil gone.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's then how I showed everything love going forward. I'm referring to myself in third person all the time now, and constantly. And they start communicating with this lady, just saying, this fucking guy, he is not getting out of his way. We are giving him every fucking opportunity he wants, but this fucking guy, like, just let go. Fucking let go. What are you doing? And she was like, I know, just like, she was trying to help me. She's like, let go. Basically, I'm trying to die.
Yeah.
And I'll every time I'm trying, and then I'm like, I keep saying, he's trying, and then she did very well. She's like,
Is it the act of trying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can't let go by trying to let go. You need to let go. And that's a paradoxical sort of idea. But
oxymoronic.
It was very difficult. And
Were they saying those exact words, let go, screaming? Or was it like...
They were saying, this guy just won't fucking let go.
Right.
He's fighting. His ego's fighting.
Yeah.
He's holding on.
Exact same thing happened to me about nearly 2 hours in. It was screaming.
Yeah.
Let go. Fucking let go. And I'm like, of what?
Yeah.
It's like, let go. And I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Let go. And I started laughing maniac.
Yeah,
like a maniac.
Yeah. Okay.
Going, oh, fuck, man, I take myself too serious.
We'll get there. 100% we'll get to that point. So I started to, they said, look, this guy's pushing back too hard. We need to work on some stuff. So it's like all these little robots appeared and went into my back. And my back pain was there.
Oh, fuck.
I've never had the back pain for the last 2 or 3 years, but the back pain was there.
I think they've left me and come and seen you for a little bit.
I've had back pain for quite a while. I had debilitating back for about 15 years. And they said that's just where I stored my trauma. So they went in there and they started working on it.
That's interesting.
And they were like
Did it hurt?
It was in pain, yeah. And I was like, there is some serious shit they're trying to work through. They're trying to defrag it, and they were trying to break it. It's like they were trying to expand me, break it all apart, work through my body, and then put it back together like a puzzle piece. And I could see it like cogs and like machinery and data, and they were just like, it's like they had burst this whole side of my body and then put it back together. And then they rolled me over and did more work, and then.
Were you physically rolling over or were you lying there?
I was rolling over and then rolling over the other way. And then they did the work, and then they peeled back my they wanted me to peel back my
foreskin.
wanted me to peel back my blindfold and look at the facilitator and communicate from them.
Right.
And they said, he's done, he's ready.
Okay.
And put it back on.
You're like a fucking turkey in the oven.
Now, so I should mention as well, after that first one, and that it is said and it is done, every single time I completed a lesson, I said that.
Right.
For no reason. For whatever reason. It is said and it is done. It is the word of God, and it is. So something along those lines. But it is said and it is done. And so when they did that, I lay back down, put the head thing on, and I said, it is said and it is done. And we moved on to the next one. And so we started defragging all of these, not defragging, working through all of these rose bushes and thorns and like each root to try and break it apart. And we came. What was the next one that came in? The next one that came in was Massa.
Mm-hmm.
My mate Massa came in.
Did you see him as him?
Yes.
Or
But
that,
as
did
a
that
like,
freak you out?
it was like Massa, but it
Because it was close to his anniversary as well.
was a day after.
Wow.
But it was Massa as a.
That's divine timing as
It
well.
was divine timing. It was Massa as like I could see him, but it's like I could recognize him. It didn't look like Massa. It was like this.
Like essence of being or like
Yeah,
soul.
I recognize
soul?
it. I recognize whatever I could see. I recognize it as Massa. I said, Massa's here, and she said, "Your friend." I said, "Yeah." What's he saying? And he said, and it's serendipitous because it's what I said at the end of the last podcast. You hold responsibility and you hold trauma for not answering the phone call when you called. I'm a young, arrogant 19-year-old boy who was going to drive there no matter what. You wouldn't have been able to stop me. So let go of that. That's fine. You're fine to move
Where
forward.
was he driving?
He did a full day of work, did
Yeah.
football training, then drove 6 hours away to go pick up a puppy for his parents.
Oh, wow.
And then drive home to surprise him with the puppy. He never got to the
Fuck,
he
that's
never
so
got to the
sad.
house.
Yeah.
So fell asleep at the wheel.
Wow.
And we held me and Trent, who I caught up with coffee that
Yeah.
afternoon, and we both would talk we both talked about that years prior, how we felt a little bit of responsibility. But he said, "Let that go. It's not your fault. I would have gone there. Nothing you said would have changed that.
100%.
It was destined because he said he was a lesson for us. And when you
This could
say
be triggering for his relatives listening.
100%,
yeah.
but this is triggering for anyone,
Yeah.
for everything, for anyone who dies or has some sort of severe trauma, because the end message where it all comes together for me was that we are all one. What doesn't matter happens to anyone else, because if we're all serving each other for messages and learnings, that's what it is. And if it's our individual points of ego don't like hearing that we're maybe nothing in this moment of time, but for the grand scheme of the whole universe, that you're
It's much
everything.
nicer to be part of something bigger than it is to be a lone island, I think. But
And he said, that was my purpose, was to serve as a trigger for you and others around to change their life, which he did, was to be a lesson. And he had his other roles and other lessons that he gave to other people.
And
But
if
that was his lesson, and that was his role in life.
yeah, if
that
you
he served.
subscribe to sort of what my beliefs are, and your soul chooses what's going to happen to you before you're born,
Yes,
then that would match up with that kind of belief system as well.
predestined.
Yeah.
Yes, and so
Yeah.
he also said he sent a message to his girlfriend, the girlfriend he had, who I called the next day and gave her the message that he gave her, which was nice. She cried. She knew it as well.
That's pretty cool.
I'll leave that message for them.
Yeah, was it something that like
It was
you
nice.
can't explain, or was it like
No, it wasn't like it was just a
it wasn't like a
no.
look under the cover?
No. No, it was just it was a nice message.
Yeah.
And she needed it.
And she's like, "Where'd you get that?" You're like, "Ah, spoke to the sun."
Yeah. She needed it. So that was very nice.
That's pretty cool.
And then he left, and I said, "It is said and it's done." And I'd released it, and that was one thorn bush gone. The next one was this underlying love stuff of relationships. So all relationships started coming up, and I won't use names, but I'll talk about Steph. So Steph came up.
Is she, all right?
We talk
Yeah.
about like
Yeah.
But Steph came up, and I had to forgive her,
Yeah.
really forgive her, but take responsibility and accountability for creating the conditions that resulted in what happened.
Which you kind of did that though.
But I hadn't verbalized it.
Yeah. And the forgiveness stuff, that's so fucking difficult. When
I had to show love to
betrayed at
the
most.
essence,
Yeah.
and also show compassion for the fact that there was someone there for her,
Yeah.
which was so. It was hard.
Yeah.
That was a hard one to truly claim responsibility for that.
Because you're facing your own ego where it's like, fuck, I wasn't there for her. And that's what you have said that you needed as well.
So I
Come from that. That's what you want in a relationship. So that's
So
it's
after that,
holding the mirror up almost.
100%. And so after that, I had after the experience, the next day I had that that conversation, and it was very good. is incredible to
That's good.
let that go and give, not blessing, but just wish nothing but the best for all of our future together.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Well, that's true love. I got goosebumps from that because that's like, it puts aside egos and that makes it, that's actual love. That's walking the walk instead of talking the talk.
It was a very difficult one to cover, but as soon as I showed it love, again, these aren't pictures of Steph. These aren't pictures of
specific people. It's like
the essence. You can sense and recognize the essence of that person. So I dealt with that one.
Isn't it interesting that like love has always been the answer, and your ego doesn't want you to, because it's almost weakness. And you know why is like a scenario like that. It's our society that's brought us up to believe in a certain way of living, and this is how relationships work.
Yeah.
And then anything that goes against that, your ego's like, yeah, that's right. I'm fucking this, that. You've broken away what society or expectations are and solved it with love, which is really interesting. Because imagine if we had grown up in a society that was maybe polyamorous or where it wasn't monogamous.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't even be a trauma. So that's society putting it onto you, and then that really interests me.
It is very interesting, and it was it was one of the more meaningful things that I did.
It'd be so wholesome.
It was. It felt like
it's so fuck, bro. That's so hard. Like live, and people listening, I don't think there's some people that would never ever be able to do that. Like think about all of our mates that have had bad relationships, or I just even think about my mum and my dad. My dad would never be able to do that. My mum didn't cheat on my dad, but like to forgive for leaving somebody, you're always resentful.
So the picture of this then created this idea of letting go that you're a burden. So that then morphed into this. It got to this point where I kept on talking again in third person, going, "This fucking guy, I feel so sorry for this guy." And this picture of me crying on Christmas, like crying alone by the Christmas tree, like that was there, and not calling my friends when I should have. That was there, and this whole like.
Well, that might even be a trigger from not answering the call.
Potentially,
mass and don't want to.
But it was all of these burdens, and I was keeping it to myself, and it was building up on me, and those sorts of burdens of not expressing that I was upset and I was struggling, and that was a huge release. It was like another thorn gone. It was like this guy, he just needs to show himself compassion. And so I showed myself compassion, which was very interesting. And then so then we sort of started to move on from there, and I started saying there's a message. There's something like there's someone behind there there's someone behind the bush. Behind the bush, I could see this like goddess. It was very creepy. But I could see them, like I could see this sort of like. So
you've worked, like you've knocked down maybe some blocks, and
starting to see beyond.
You're getting a little bit of
a glimpse.
Maybe A1's mum or something.
Well, I'll tell you soon.
I think this is like Avatar 5.
Yeah,
this is what it sounded
it's
like.
So weird. Did I tell you I felt like watching? All I felt like doing was watching Avatar after, and I did.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get to this. I can see. I'm like, there's this message. And they're like, what are they saying? They're like, no, we can't get to the message until we've dealt with your love, your traumas, because the message is part of the trauma healing. And so I started working through more traumas, and I couldn't get through it. And they just said, like, he's getting in his way, like in love. So like there was a situation where there's a girl I've met who there's a connection there, and they said that's the connection, that is it, that's the soulmate, that's the
that girl is yours, or the thing you feel is the connection you're after.
That girl is the soulmate.
Name her. Manifest it.
That girl's the soulmate. That girl is it's already done.
So Mila Kunis, if you're listening,
she's the soulmate. She's the twin flame. It is done, and you know that, and she knows that. But because you are trying to make that happen, you're getting in your own way. It is said.
Do I know this person, or is this a random one? Or you don't have to say it. You can say no comment.
I'll talk to you after because I'm fine telling you.
Yeah.
And so this soulmate, they said it's destined, it's predestined. But every time you try to make it happen, you are getting in your own way.
Okay.
So if it is said and it is done, trust the universe. This has started where the message started to.
So everything that's meant to happen has already happened. So stop forcing it.
Yeah, if you have full blind faith in the universe and you have full blind faith that this is predestined, why are you trying to make it happen? And it just is happening.
Yeah.
And just kept on getting to this. And I couldn't work that out at the time. I see that now. But at the time in this experience, I could not get that through my head.
This is where I love this stuff, but at the same time, I look at the flip side of this and go, if you're on mushrooms and you're homeless and your fucking life's a toilet, are you going to have these same realizations where coming from a privilege, well, we are privileged.
Well, it depends what your point.
We have a house, we have a family, we have money.
Yeah.
Is this just a fucking, is this just an experience that we can have because we know we're going to be fine? Or if someone is on mushrooms on the street on meth.
Yeah, but remember we were talking about, like, if that's their purpose, like, and that sounds horrific. People don't like hearing that. People don't want to hear that their kid got cancer for a reason.
Yeah, it's fucking horrific.
It's a fucking disgusting thing to say.
Yeah.
But if you look at the universe as every single person is the point of God experiencing itself, then it doesn't have a bad meaning. It is just like that is part of the experience. And you are one part of an infinite universe experiencing itself.
Yeah.
Very hard to run that through a person coming at it from a third dimensional point of view.
I would love to.
It's hard.
I would love to do this, run this same session or experiment on somebody from,
because you are that person from the point of view of which I've discovered now.
Yeah.
You are that person on meth. You are me.
Yeah.
We are the one point of the universe experiencing every point simultaneously.
Yeah.
And because we are we've placed our what's the word? Because we've placed our experience right now in this point here, and you've put your experience in your point right there, in this linear timeline, that's what we're experiencing. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't move your experience to another person or another point of view.
I wonder if
it's a very interesting way of thinking.
I wonder if every single human is the same, or if there's different subspecies of human that we haven't figured out. Like, let's say what's going on over in the Middle East, the wars and stuff.
But in essence, they'd still be the same thing.
That's what but
in essence, God, which is why you are God and I am God.
That's when you flip it. Like, if there was a God, we wouldn't have these atrocities. But then on the same side is everything about balance. But the karmic grid is apparently meant to be broken. So the light and shade of everything, does that have to occur? The wars have to occur. So then the great, amazing things that happen have to occur.
Correct.
But I don't know if that...
balance
that strikes a chord with me anymore.
But maybe that's the lessons that we needed to go through as humanity to learn to return to that point.
We haven't fucking learnt. It's taken us
exactly
2,100 years, and we're still.
Maybe that's where mushrooms come into play. But anyway, we'll get to that. And so we're working through that. I see a temptation, another devil. There's another girl that is in my life that is a temptation. That is a devil, is a physical manifestation. It was said to me as a physical manifestation of a block.
All of the girls are devils for me.
So they come in, they come out, they come in, they come out. They just
coming everywhere, like a
but they were
jerking off like a peasant.
Just as you think you've removed them from your psyche,
so
it's a repeating cycle that you can't get rid of.
Singular person, or just girl in general is
this specific person was a physical manifestation of a block, and I was a lesson for them, and they are a lesson for me, and we have our own karmic ties, but she was a physical manifestation of a block for me, and I need to release that, so I released it.
It's like dinner for schmucks. I release you.
Yeah. So it was that was a very interesting realization. And then as I'm getting,
are you 100% certain that these are true realizations, or is that like at that point in time that's what makes the most sense? Like, is this what's the word I'm looking for? The Bible? Is this
yeah.
She is a block, 100%, no doubts. Is that just you thinking that, or is that like?
Well, when you're on mushrooms,
everything feels.
It's
right.
It's not a It's not even a logical thing. It's a knowing. You know, you're like, oh no, there's no way I could have thought of that. Or even if it was a subconscious thing, like that's it's different. It's a feeling. It was a knowing. It was like it's like now I have that unwavering belief in God. And when I say God, I don't mean the dogmatic, Christianity version of God.
Some sort of source or something greater.
Yeah.
Not even greater, just something of a...
So my mate Burnsy came up, and that was just a nice little... he was your rock through some hard times. He's tired, so be there for him. It's a very simple message.
Is he going to do the 52K run?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe tell him to have the day off. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was a very nice message for Burnsy. And I'm trying to remember if there was any more blocks or traumas that I worked through.
Every time I hear trauma, I think of chicken trauma. Like it sounds like a dish. Like I'm just eating my chicken trauma, having my papadum.
There was messages for you, but they were sort of like, there's a reason we're aligned.
Yeah. Wanneroo dog.
Wanneroo boy. Because we have a message to spread. And we've been tasked. We've been tasked with this platform.
Fuck.
That you've been tasked as well.
I didn't consent.
But not like not as in a God.
Like a burden.
Not as in, it's just do what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing extra.
Yeah.
It's just, we just keep doing what we're doing.
It's fun. It's good.
And then I slowly, each thorn, fucking patience. Patience was one because I kept on trying to cut through this thorn bush so quickly. And
Interesting that it's
the biggest ones.
Because Jesus' crown was thorns. And that was...
The biggest issue they kept on bringing up was like, you're fucking rushing. Take your time. Like, we're working through some traumas. That doesn't just fucking happen, this guy. And they kept on stressing, this guy is getting in his own way. Just let go, just let go, just let go. And this is once I'd beaten all of these, I'd taken down the thorns, and the last thorn bush that was in the way was like this. It was like this. I don't know what the representation was, but it was the let go was the final bush, the final thorn in the way.
Letting go of the let go.
Just letting go. And I was trying to let go, and they kept on saying, you're trying. Stop trying. They were like yelling at me, stop trying to let go and let go. And it was such a paradoxical thing to have. And then I said to myself, sorry, not to myself, I said to my facilitator, I need to be willing to die. I need to be so...
You are literally mushroom Jesus, bro.
I need to be willing to die.
Yeah.
And they said, if you're not willing to die now, in this moment, you'll never let go. And I had to die.
And this is how jihadi is born.
But this is the moment that I had full surrender. And I realized I had to die.
So this is the ego death.
The death of the ego. The ego death was real.
Scary?
And it was so scary. But not. As soon as I had that realization...
Did you think you were going to actually die?
No, I literally had this physical... like an out-breath, which is funny. It's serendipitous because the Buddhism version of nirvana refers to it, the out-breath. It's letting go. And that's what it felt like. I just let go, and I don't know how long this moment went for. This could have been 5 minutes. This could have been 2 hours, this moment. But I was dead. I was gone. There was nothing. And there was nothing, and there was everything. And I had fully let go and surrendered. And
where were you? Were you conscious, or were you just gone?
Like I said, I was everywhere and nowhere. It was like this experience of just, it made me completely understand God for a moment. It made me completely understand everything for a temporary moment that I can't regurgitate the feeling.
It's a similar experience to people that on ayahuasca. They are everywhere at the same time and get this godly, like my friend that did it.
Yes.
She said the exact same thing. I was everywhere at once.
It made me feel and understand the idea of time being linear.
Yep.
And it made me understand that I could place myself within any moment of time in any person at any point. And
Once you're dead.
Once you're dead.
Yeah.
Once I had died. And so what I felt like was in this, the 3D logical reasoning in my head made me visualize it like a soul leaving another, when someone dies.
That makes sense.
And they don't wait 10 years to move into another soul. That 10 years is already, that's everywhere and anywhere at the same point. There's no linear time. So they just place themselves in that one, and they place themselves in that one. And
that's what God is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they just return to source. So I had this I come to Jesus moment, like a fucking proper ego death.
How crazy is it? This is just fucking caused by some shit that grows in the mud, bro.
And the fact that I was so not unwilling, I understood and I said it the other day, I understood there was a place for it, but I was so against the idea of you need a drug to do it. Not against, but I was like, wouldn't you rather do the work?
This is the work, though.
This is the work.
Because you've defeated devils, and it sounds difficult.
Oh, man.
It doesn't sound fun. It sounds like you're working through shit.
Oh, working through some serious shit. But,
so this is a great explanation to the question that I ask on the pod. It's like when they're like, "Oh, do the work." It's like, fucking, what do you mean?
Yeah.
This is an hour explanation of what doing the work means. Now,
this is where I met a goddess. The bush cleared, and the goddess I could see beyond. It's like
I love a goddess with a cleared bush.
So the bush had cleared. There was nothing there anymore, but nothing was. There was everything, and there was nothing. And then she came into my vision, and I was smiling, and I felt euphoric, and I felt incredible, like I'd done the work.
No.
Yeah. They get on saying that, like you fucking think this shit is over.
Back,
yeah,
man.
exactly.
Honestly, I've figured it out.
Yep.
Figured it out.
Yeah. And I seen her, and I said to my facilitator, I see there's a goddess. She said, what does she look like? And I was like, hold on a second. And I was trying to look, and I was trying to figure it out, and it's hard to verbalize and visualize. And then I was like, she's golden. She's golden. And she said, is she Egyptian? And I said, yes.
Do you think that could be hypnotic suggestion?
No, because I could clearly see this Egyptian
before she mentioned it.
Right. But I couldn't verbalize it because it's like I was rebuilding myself.
Don't want to be racist.
I was like, it's like I was rebuilding myself from nothing. So it's like I was learning how to talk again. It's like everything was starting again. And
you're born again, bro. Oh. That's what Christianity tried to do.
Yeah, it was. And so I said, who is this goddess? And she said, she is the goddess. She said the name. She said, she's the goddess of unconditional love. And this is a part of your path going forward.
Read about this goddess. You hear Vishnu, you hear all these other ones. I've never heard the goddess of unconditional love.
I'll have to ask her.
Do you remember the name?
No, I can't remember. She's, the facilitator knew of this one and had.
Do you think if I did
met this one a few times? Potentially, yeah.
Have a quick search while you talk, yeah.
And then we started to move to a point where everything was light. Everything was bright and light. The facilitator was asking me, what am I saying? I said, everything's bright, everything's light, everything's love. Everything is all good. And the message is clear. And the message...
Was it Hathor?
I can't remember.
No? Yeah, anyway, sorry.
Nothing
like that?
It's hard to tell from a statue. But that's a...
Statuary? Yeah, so?
And the message became clear. The message was to not preach, not tell people what to do, to be the example, which we've already spoken about before anyway, which is quite serendipitous. To be an example of what true blind faith and love and compassion can be.
Fuck, I hope you're successful after this.
Because there will be not tests, but through my whole life, they're like, we've given you signs, we've given you opportunities, we've given you everything you've ever needed, and you've fucking thrown it in our face. Even when they made points of, you knew the connection had gone between you and your wife. We gave you signs. You didn't take action, so we took control and took it out of your hands. And that's what's going to happen going forward. If you don't see the signs, if you don't have blind faith in what we are putting in front of you and what you ask for, just remember it is said and it is done, and completely trust the universe. And that, even though I've had that realization and I had at that moment a full understanding and a full appreciation for exactly what they were saying, I come back to the real world, the third dimensional world, and the fears that are logical in a world, like a third dimensional world where we have to have a fear of crossing the road where a car is so we don't die. They're still valid in this sort of world. So the fears are...
To help you still survive.
Yeah, they're required. But so to shut them off completely is difficult. And so for me to sit here and go, okay, if I get a sign that I need to do this full time, for example, like I haven't had the sign yet to just quit and just jump in. I haven't had the sign. But if there's a sign and I don't follow it, they'll just take away my clients. And I have to be like, if that's what I want. If I ask for the universe, okay, I want to be a full-time podcast host.
I want.
And I'm just using this as an example. But if I want to be a full-time podcast host in the next 3 months, that's going to be a pretty abrupt change. So if I ask for that and they say, okay, you can have it, but you're going to have to deal with losing this, and this.
Isn't it already done if that's...
Yes.
Like,
but if I push against it, it will just... It creates tension, it creates blocks, it creates all these... So, full blind faith in that what I ask for, it is said and it is done. So if I say it, it's done. And just trust it. Don't try and make it happen. Just go with it.
Doesn't that flip on the thing?
It's paradoxical.
Because if you're like, I want this, but what if your path was meant to be the other way? Or you're always going to want what you're supposed to get?
So this idea, and this is what rang true in my head, was the idea that you have complete control and no control over your life direction is paradoxical, but is the only way to understand what you're dealing with. And in that moment, that made sense. And it still does to a point that I am, and you are.
We are Australian.
I am going to be a example of what putting blind faith in the universe is.
But you shouldn't be like, that's great, but don't tell people that's what you're doing.
Exactly.
They're like, I'm doing blind faith. Look at me, I'm great.
No, they want me to be that message. They said
that's why we should document this.
Yes,
for sure.
100. They said it.
Yeah,
they said you are an example, and not just me. There's millions around the world who are going to be an example of this, but this is an example of what putting faith in the signs that you see in life. We can talk about it like from a scientific point of view, seeing the reticular activating system and then saying, this is the path you've got to follow because you see the red car. We talk about that all the time. But just trusting that sometimes there's things that science can't explain because we don't have the tools to measure it yet. Because there's people say, well, science.
I get it. That's the message. I'm listening, cunts. I gotcha.
Science.
A1.
Science and spirituality are often considered separate. And this is bridging the gap between what science and spirituality is, because who's to say that spirituality isn't a science?
Yep.
And we just don't have the tools to measure it yet.
Yep.
And so, that is where I came to that point of I really reached that point of I've reset. The way that Dr. Stephen Bright described it is the greatest analogy I think I've ever heard of. My life was one snow path down the hill, and I kept on following that snow path because it was easy, and that's what the patterns that I was living in. And now I've had this mushroom dose.
Avalanched over the top.
There's a new fresh powder on top, and I have my choice of where I choose my path to go. Now I can fall back into my old patterns, or I can start to recognize what was holding me back, and I can move forward in a new path.
It's interesting. You have one mushroom experience and all of a sudden your life's changed.
And one thing that kept on happening throughout the experience was, from a third person point of view, he's done so much work to try and get through this, and he can't get to this realization. He can't let go. He keeps trying to hold control. He keeps trying to drive it. He thinks manifesting is by trying. And they did make the point that you are correct. Well, I was correct in my assumption of why you're good at manifesting is because you say it and forget it and move on. And that's why you manifest, is because it is said
It's done.
and it is done. And then you move on and you're focusing on something else, which is a perfect example of what I have to do now. It's just like I've said what I want.
It's also about following through.
Yeah, I've said what I want. And if something is in direction and in path of what I want, I have to follow that. And if I don't, I will. They said that this is the words they said. They will give me breadcrumbs. They'll give me little rewards along the way. Every time I show blind faith, here's a little reward. If you show full faith, fucking huge reward. If you don't go with the signs and you don't show the faith, you'll receive karma.
Devils.
And devils is what we verbalize it as, but blocks. And so, yeah, it was fucking incredible experience.
And what happened after the Golden Goddess? Was that the final stage?
That was so after that we went outside. That was, he's ready. He's done. This is the lesson done. He can go to recess. We went outside. We had a bit of a reflection time, which was really good because I got to actually, it's like compress everything and start to sort of work through everything. And it's funny because the facilitator said over the next coming weeks, things would drop in, memories of what happened. They did last night in my sleep. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. I'm starting to remember things that I need to not do, but just ways that were crippling me. So we did that, and then we went back in and she said, this is when we just land the plane. And this is where you come down, give you a safe space to relax and come back to this realm.
Snap back to reality.
And it was very good. I felt this overwhelming sense of wanting to return because it was so fun. It was very funny. I probably haven't stressed and given it. I've probably gone more down the messages. But there's a lot of humour.
Yeah.
They were playing games with me. They were playing games with her. And that was an underlying message. Life is a game.
Yeah.
It's like a game. Like if you were to treat you as a computer character and you were trying to build something.
Could be simulation.
You would be trying to build the best life you can in this fucking simulation. You'd be watching them going, okay, he's got to do this. But because it's not you, it's you operating from outside of you, you could go, yeah, he can wait 4 weeks for this crop to grow.
Yeah.
It's just part of the game. That's what I have to do.
Yeah, that's so true.
And so operating yourself like you're part of a game and having fun with it and like, this is the next challenge. There's a big boss. That's that was a big underlying message. So it's going to be interesting to see if I drop back into old ways in certain areas and old ways of thinking. Trying not to tell people what to do, trying to just be an example. And it's good that we've got a platform because I don't have to tell anyone anything. We can just talk about what we're doing, and it becomes
on the wall.
Exactly.
We are the NPCs for them.
Yeah, and it's and the final sort of message was that we've been given this platform to help awaken other people and let them on their own journey. So they'll find themselves and they'll find their own path to get to where they want to get to. But I am of the elk now. I was not against. I wasn't against mushrooms.
The elk boys.
Yeah, I wasn't against mushrooms, but I was certainly do the work yourself. That's a lazy way. It's a cheat code. And now I'm like, nah, that's...
If it's naturally occurring and they're there, why would you not use it?
It's a tool. It's not a cheat. It's a tool. It's a tool to help us return.
If you want to fucking build a house, you need a hammer.
Yeah.
Or a brick. Like, I don't know how trades work, but...
Now, I'm interested to try it by myself.
You need tools.
I'm not sure I would have been as efficient in what I achieved because there's certain moments where the fear would have just taken me.
You probably still would. You'd probably still...
potentially.
You'd work it out.
Potentially. But
or you just open your eyes and you take a break and you go back.
Because there was intent. I was safe. I had someone guiding me, helping me through things. And this is why the shamans and stuff, they're not there for no reason. It's like having someone to make the experience as efficient and as enjoyable as possible.
Well, how's the contrast?
And beneficial.
If you could have had those same mushrooms and gone out in Northbridge.
Yeah, but the intent would have been completely different. So the intent is
well, maybe that's huge. Funny because they are enjoyable because the guides or whoever is in the mushroom realm have that trickster fun nature.
They said we'd like to have fun too, and life is fun. Life is a game. Like I said, life is a game.
Does it make you think that the fungi maybe the guides are fungi? Like it's just it is just a different life form that we haven't recognized as being.
I think they're a.
Or do you think it's a conduit?
I think it's a pathway to connecting to everything.
Why would there be that, right? Let's say there is a God or a source. Why would he grow these mushrooms to allow you to connect and learn rather than just do it?
Because if everything's infinite, you'd have to have every infinite possibility of everything happening ever. And if that's a connection...
It's almost like putting in a secret in a game. Like, if you go down this way, you're going to access this.
Because it's fun. And life is a game. So it's a very interesting thing. I love the science behind what Stephen Bright says, and I still agree with 99.9% of what he's saying because it's fucking incredible. But and do you know what? To be honest with you, he leans towards that spiritual side as well. He understands there's something more to it.
Yeah.
He says it even as a scientist. So there is definitely things within this space that are unexplainable. And I'm very excited to see it become a bigger part of society.
Do you know what strain of mushroom you had?
No.
It's funny because those mushrooms have been there the whole time behind your head.
How serendipitous.
So
Well, they were definitely a conduit to God, or God for lack of a better word. But yeah, I feel like I'm looking at the world from new eyes.
yeah,
I feel reset,
yeah.
which was, I think that's all I needed.
I think you need to do it every 6 months or so.
Part of me just wants to return just to see them again. It was just fun.
Yeah.
It was like even the trauma. It was like I don't know what the word is. Even the trauma, like getting through it was like entertaining. It was like how can I get through this?
Yeah.
It's like problem solving.
Instead of a victim mentality.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, very good experience. Very nice.
from that, you want to run mental health men's groups or something?
I wanted to do that last year, but that's just something what I've started to do now is things that I want to do. I'm just going to do them.
So,
And
I'm just going to
if
keep calling
things-
you Mushroom Jesus from now on.
Yeah, call me
MJ.
Call me MJ. I'm interested, and so obviously I think the role of the facilitator is good, but that doesn't mean there's no benefit in doing them by yourself because the inner work that you can do by yourself is great. I guess the important thing to know is, and that my facilitator did stress, doesn't do them anymore. That was the last one. Did stress that it's not necessarily important if you do them by yourself or with someone, but if you do them with someone, make sure they know what they're doing, and how to navigate it. You feel safe and comfortable with them and complete trust in them.
Yeah.
Because it really helped having her there.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah.
To navigate the devils, for example. Maybe
Yeah.
I would have got there.
And always every message that you hear about anybody on a trip or a bad trip, which isn't they say it isn't a thing. I'm sure there's been bad trips, but it's when you resist it. You got to face that devil. If you had kept being scared of it and not facing it, you would have had a horrible trip.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I saw all these devils.
Yeah.
Every single person says the number one thing is go towards them, figure out what they want,
Yeah.
or face it.
Yeah. What is that? What is that analogy about the buffaloes? They run into the storm.
Yeah. Instead of running away from it. When there's a storm, they run headfirst into it.
So
And
they
then the
get
storm
through it.
passes. Otherwise, they keep running for it forever. They get tired and then they're fucked. And they're weak when the storm comes. What was the messages they sent me?
They want you to go there yourself.
To go back to the Shroomville, to the dimension, wherever that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
You need to do some work.
All right, well,
Is
if
what
you
they
got some
said.
mushrooms, guys, flick us a DM.
They were very,
My cousin's listening. Actually, I might fling him a
do you have
message.
someone safe that can help guide you through some stuff?
I don't want it guided.
I know, but
want
that's
to do it on my own.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah. I don't trust anyone. That's it.
Okay, I'll tell you 2 messages.
Yeah.
Trust and control.
Yeah.
Those are your 2 things you need to work
It
through.
always keeps coming up.
So-
I don't trust anyone to do that
So
because I always think, oh, fuck, what do you know, can't.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's the ego.
Yeah.
So
I'm happy to admit it.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, and I think you'll potentially you can try again by yourself. If you can get someone you trust, I don't know if because you don't have to it's going to be interesting. Get someone you can trust to be there for you and help you work through and set intent. You need to set intent.
Only person that I trust is me. Fuck around and make me bust. Yeah, I think I'd only do it on my own again. I don't have anybody that I trust or would think, that I would listen to without thinking, oh,
And
you're
that
a
will
fucking
be
wanker,
and the message was that will be a never-ending cycle until you trust.
Oh, fuck, I better build some relationships, or you should go a few more times than you do it with me.
And learn.
Yeah. So.
Potentially. Fuck, I can see why it would cost so much money.
Or.
It is so... it was
just a time-intensive thing.
Time-intensive. So the 6 hours of just being at my beckoning call.
Yeah, I'd fucking hate that.
The prior to it, like all the stuff they were trying to work me through, the on-call messaging they've been with me since, and I pictured it like, because in my head when I find out how much it costs, because this isn't just this person that it's quite expensive with, it's like that with everyone, and I was like, why is it so expensive? And then the first thing that came to my head was you with your weddings, and you said, I'm expensive because I make everyone have a better time. And the reason they're expensive is they get the
most
maximum benefit out of it for that person.
And it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of work.
100%.
It's a lot of time.
A lot of self-sacrifice.
A lot of linear time.
Yeah. So I can understand it. But if, I don't know, even if we could try and source you someone like, Chelsea, who would understand psychology, for example, to just guide you through it.
I'd probably trust Chelsea to do it.
Yeah.
She would need to do a bit more on it herself. See, my biggest thing is I get triggered if some fucking white dude with a top knot is like, I'm like, man, you're a fucking wanker. You sound like a wanker.
Yeah.
Like, you sound like a fucking pompous wanker. And I don't want to listen to you. I don't respect you.
I had to move past that.
I
had to move past that with a book.
Yeah.
I found it really hard to listen to the book.
Yeah.
Because of the...
But is that ego, or is that just fucking me realizing this isn't the person for me?
It was ego.
Yeah, but what if they're not the person for you?
Oh, 100%.
You know,
No. That's different. But so for me, I didn't want to listen to that book because the audio book, it was like, everybody has a spiritual partner. It was speaking like that.
Right.
And that triggered me. That was like, what? Do you know
Just one special partner?
No. I'm just saying like the voice, the tone. It was like, you can do anything you want to do.
Oh, it was the audio book.
Audio book.
Ugh.
So that sound of that voice, I had to move past that. And that was an ego... And that was an ego death style itself. That was moving past what I visualized to be a fucking dickhead to hear the underlying message.
Yeah.
Because of my stereotypical thoughts on what someone would be like if they talk like that.
I could probably do it with Boris because I know Boris, like, he's not arrogant. He's not up himself. He's real genuine.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting you feel that with him. I feel that as well.
And Gorilla Cairo as well, forming the men's group. I'll be able to do it with him. Because I know he's gone through the journey of, I used to think they're fucking wankers as well. And then and he still said, I'm working through stuff.
Yeah.
So if he was going to do it, I'd trust those two blokes. I'd trust Chels to do it. But no, like...
The trust is the thing. That's a big... I'm interested to see where you go with that. I don't think there's any rush. You do it like it's Alan Watts says it, when you're ready to wake up, you're ready to wake up. And you can't force anyone to do it. And
but who says waking up is better than not being waking up?
Waking up to the fact that you're it. That's what he says. You're it.
As in...
You are everything.
Yeah.
That you are the problem, you are the solution. We talked about it.
Of course.
So, waking up and realizing you're it. Alan Watts. He was... He's a good trigger, but all right.
Well,
that was good.
Said and it.
I hope people enjoyed that. That walkthrough.
Sorry for cutting in with a few jokes.
No, I think that was good. It lightened it up because it was. I think
enlighten up, baby.
So what I think is important there is just people hearing what a whole process of a guided version is like and how we work through it bit by bit. I probably missed out.
You've sold that better than anyone else could. So let's start a mushroom sitting service.
It was definitely something I'm happy to experience again, and I'm happy to recommend to people who definitely feel like they need it.
And if any listeners do have any mushrooms that they can flick my way, send me a DM.
I know someone.
Is it Mario?
Nope.
It's a me.
But yeah, awesome.
It's a done.
Do you have anything to plug, Delby?
What day? When's this going out?
Today. I'll put it out.
Yep. So next week, December 14th, I would love to get some more people to teach a comedy night. We're sitting at about 100 at the moment.
So good, man.
So
then
the Christmas end of year one, it's a Thursday night. So even if you're just looking for something to do, hit up Patreon. There's codes on the Patreon for discount, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've chucked that up for you. Alex Roberts, who's going to be our guest on Friday, he's going to be doing his first ever comedy set.
Yeah.
I've got Regal Theatre booked.
Fuck, I love that guy.
Yeah.
See him at the coffee shop all the time. He's like, Branchy! He's so much energy.
What's going on, brother?
Fuck, man. He's energy.
It'll be funny because if his episode goes well, it'll be Alex Roberts and Alan Roberts.
Yeah.
The two Al Robertses that go
He's
bananas.
For listeners, he's the X number 2.
I
Number
think
1.
2 or 3
Number
air
2
guitarist.
air guitarist in the
world.
world.
Yeah.
For someone to try to be the best air guitarist in the planet, you got to have a bit of personality.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
that'll be a fun episode.
But yeah, I've also got the Astor Theatre gig that I've envisioned. I wrote on my goal board 2 or 3 years ago to sell out a theatre on my own. So I'm going to do it without a headline act. It's just going to be me, probably John Pinder, Who's Rhyme, and if Al goes really well, I'll chuck Al on again because that'll be fucking
sick. I'm excited to
because what
see.
he has in mind sounds wicked.
What day is it? Next to
Thursday, 14th. So
I think I've got something, but if not, I'm dropping by and having a watch.
yeah, I've actually chucked on my socials asking for any teenagers looking for work.
Yeah.
Filming, doing Instagram reels because I'm like looking at
Behind the
all these
scenes.
template stuff. I know how to do it, but not really well, and I can't film myself.
Yeah.
So I've got a potential like.
Well, look at what happened when Boris came here. Like, that was so sick. I know it
Yeah.
was his wife, but like, it was sick having that behind the scenes
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it was sick. Awesome.
So Ezarev from my wedding industry, she's an amazing singer guitarist. Her daughter is legal age to do work. Films all of her stuff and it's incredible. Sev's trained her up for 3 months.
Sick.
So she's like, yeah, my daughter can come do it.
Awesome.
So she might come to Hard Yarns
Oh, sick.
and film the Hard Yarns
Love that
party
stuff. Yeah,
for us.
sick.
So, but yeah, Astor Theatre, I've got, and I've manifested this. I keep envisioning 956 tickets being sold. I've done 100 in the first week without
If
marketing.
you do 956.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Wait a second. It is said.
It is done.
And it is done.
I've already seen it. So I've done 100 in the first week without marketing. So if you're keen, big theatre show, April 12th. And now shout out, if anyone wants to sponsor the night, I might throw up like Teach Comedy Night sponsorship packages. So
That's
I might
a cool
even
idea.
Yeah, I'll speak to maybe speak to John because I don't know if teachers can have extra insurance. No, probably not. But yeah, even if you got something and your target market is going to be 1,000 teachers, hit me up, danieldelby.com.
I don't want anything because I already have
It's
everything.
already done.
So
Hard Yarns podcast, end of your Christmas party.
yeah, come along if
15th.
you want. Yeah, that'll be fun.
We are literally sitting on, I'll tell you right now, we've got 16 of Ian Jeffrey Motors and Branchy crew coming. And then we have got 22 pre-sales, so 38.
Cool.
Plus there'll be
comedians and
guests. So we're at about 60, 70 already.
Yeah, cool.
So it's going to be huge.
It's going to be fun. And Bitter is
We're just doing a 20-minute headline
20-minute headline set. I thought he was going to do one song. So
Yeah.
that's going to be sick. So
He's an
fucking
He's an awesome showman too.
Yeah.
So-
I've never, do you know what? Feel bad. Never seen him.
Mate, it's great. Like when I started doing comedy, I was like, right, I'm going to support Bitter as well.
Yeah.
And watching his shows and him as a guest, completely different. He's got so much energy and
Yeah.
it's great.
Fuck, I love
Great
that.
showman.
Yeah, that's going to be good. But yeah, thanks so much for all your support, Patreons. Oh, we've got 2 Patreons to shout out at the start of the episode as well. But
Do we?
Yeah, cheers. All right.
Because it says a few
I'll show you.
cancelled.
I'll show you in a minute. Yeah.
Sick.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.